The Cairngorm 4000's are a collection of 5 Munros located in the Cairngorms National Park in the Scottish Highlands. Each stands over 4,000 feet or 1,219 metres in height. These peaks are the highest in the UK after Ben Nevis. Our plan was to tackle these peaks over 2 days with an overnight camp by the Corrour Bothy. We set out at about 1:30 p.m. from the Cairngorm Mountain Ski Resort, which sits at an elevation of 635 metres. We parked in the lower car park where donations are welcome. Overnight parking in the main car park will cost a whopping £25. Our journey began by heading through the resort buildings and joining the aptly named Windy Ridge Path. The path took us past the ptarmigan building at the top station of the Cairngorm Mountain Railway. From here, a well-maintained trail led us to the summit at Cairngorm at 1,245 metres. This, the first of our Cairngorm 4000's peaks. The summit provided panoramic views of the surrounding peaks and valleys, setting the stage for our adventure ahead. From the summit of Cairngorm, the trail headed southwest over loose and rocky terrain before ascending to Stob Corrian Snecta. We then descended to the col with Cairn Lochain, where the trail heads to the south, crossing the Cairngorm Plateau. The ascent was gradual but steady, with a mix of rocky and grass terrain and some lingering snowfields. As we ascended towards Ben Macdui, we followed numerous stone cairns that mark the route and guide walkers on the frequently foggy days. We crossed more snowfields as we reached the summit of Ben Macdui at 1,309 metres, the second of our Cairngorm 4000's. The summit, marked by a cairn and a trig point, offered breathtaking 360-degree views. To the north we could see back towards Cairngorm, while the south revealed the depths of the Lairig Ghru and the distant peaks of the southern Cairngorms. We initially headed southeast off the summit of Ben Macdui to where we will find the most technical sections on this route. With no defined paths, we work our way through the boulder fields on the southern slopes as we slowly descend the 600 vertical metres into the Lairig Ghru. This section was slow going, and by now it was 7 p.m, but with sunset at 9 p.m. and the clear skies, we had plenty of daylight left. As we descended, we picked up a faint trail that led us alongside a stream, past a pair of ptarmigans, and finally brought us out onto the southern half of the Lairig Ghru. From here, the trail was well defined and we descended down through the Lairig Ghru. We crossed the River Dee on a steel bridge, finally reaching the welcome site of Corrour Bothy at around 8 p.m. Corrour Bothy is a basic, watertight hut with a fireplace, a few chairs and a sleeping platform. A small extension houses composting toilets. There were already a few other campers at the Bothy when we arrived. We found a suitable spot to set up our tent, refilled our water bottles, rehydrated our evening meal and settled in for the night. Our first day comprised of about 15 kilometres of walking over 6.5 hours, with 900 metres of ascent and almost 1,000 metres of descent. It's 6:30 in the morning. I actually slept really well last night. My wife is still in bed, sleeping, or trying to sleep at least. Quite a nice morning actually, quite warm. A little bit of a breeze, but a little overcast, a little cloudy on the tops. A little cloudy on the tops. There's some beautiful cloud coming down the valley over there. So I think it's going to be a nice day. Hopefully it's going to burn off. But we'll probably set out in the next hour or so, make the most of the day, get up at the tops and just see what happens. We began our day with a steep ascent to the col between Devil's Point and Cairn Toul. Navigating through the wet and soft terrain, we did our best to keep our feet dry. Our route took us southward as we ascended to the summit of Devil's Point at 1,004 metres. Just got up onto the pass and now we're heading up Devil's Point. From the summit we were rewarded with imposing views down into the Lairig Ghru, although the cloud level sat at about 1,200 metres and unfortunately did not improve as the day progressed. Returning to the col, we prepared for the ascent of Cairn Toul. The trail steepened and the terrain became rockier as we climbed into the cloud. Visibility remained limited to about 100 to 200 metres throughout the day, shrouding the landscape in a misty veil. Beautiful conditions, absolutely no wind, although we really could do with a bit more of a view. Despite the cloud, the lack of wind made our progress around the broad ridgeline enjoyable. Along the way we passed only a handful of walkers attempting the entire ridge. Sgor and Lochain Uaine. I'm probably not pronouncing that right. 1,258 metres. And as for the last couple of peaks, you can't really see a lot. Anyway, we're off in this direction. After summiting the Angel's Peak, the cloud briefly broke, giving us a fleeting glimpse of the vast surroundings. However, as we approached the plateau leading to Braeriach, we found ourselves back in the limited visibility. Crossing the streams feeding the Falls of Dee, we managed to keep our feet dry. Reaching the unassuming summit of Braeriach, we encountered various other groups of walkers. Many seemed to be navigating this popular summit using just their mobile phones. Heading east off Braeriach, we traversed a few more large snowfields and followed a well-trodden trail, finally descending into the Lairig Ghru. As we dropped below the cloud cover for the first time in 6 hours, we were greeted with well-deserved views. Climbing out of the Lairig Ghru and heading up towards the Lochain Gap. Our route back led us through the Lochain Gap, a dramatic testament to the power of geological forces and the rugged beauty of the Scottish Highlands. It's a narrow and steep-sided ravine, punctuated by a chaotic jumble of large angular boulders and scree slopes. These boulders, some as large as cars, are strewn haphazardly throughout the gap, creating a challenging and adventurous route-finding exercise. So now well and truly in the Lochain Gap. There's sort of two sections, this upper section here and then a lower section. The Sugar Bowl car park was to be the end of our trip. My wife waited with our packs as I ascended back up to Cairngorm Mountain Car Park to retrieve the car. The Sugar Bowl is also served by daily bus services en route to Cairngorm Mountain. Covering today's 21 kilometres took us about 10 hours, including nearly 1,300 metres of ascent and 1,400 metres of descent. The steady progress and challenging conditions made for an exhausting but incredibly rewarding day in the heart of the Cairngorms.